Hey, we got a video for you today. I've been trying to work the mythical unicorn 5 gigahertz out of this Fx-6300 chip. I was able to do it. I don't know if it's going to be stable though. It's kind of towards the extent of my water cooler's cooling capabilities. Let's see here. Wake up for the New Year's. My core voltage is 1.62, so well over what it's supposed to be according to the manufacturer. We have a 24.5 multiplier and a little bit of bus, or a little bit of megahertz on the front side bus to get it right up to that 5. As you see, it's actually running, but I think as soon as we start to push anything towards it, we're going to see the temps jump up real crazy and it's probably going to crash. But it's been my unicorn with this setup to try and get to it. I at least got to it, it just run like that. So, and we're going to go over some other things once we run it and see if it crashes, and then we'll look into some other overclocking stuff. So let's see what happens. Just going to use performance tests because it's easy, tried and true program. I'm not trying to get scores, I'm trying to get the comparisons from the baselines. So if I do a 4.8 overclock or a 4.2, or if I change memory or any of that kind of stuff, you can see. Currently on this, I'm not really messing with the memory or the video card to overclock with anything. In this case, it's just the voltage and just the multiplier. The front side bus, I add a little bit in just to get it through there. And I left most of the other stuff good. I did drop the memory down from 1866 to 1600. I couldn't get it to run on 1866. I had to sacrifice the memory. But in this case, I was literally looking for the CPU numbers. And as you see, we have a way uncorrectable error, which means it was too much for it. And we're going to try another, lower it down and see what happens. Alright, so we rebooted it. As you can see, we're at the 5.02 at 1640. I'm going to actually lower the voltage because I think we're cooking it. So we're going to drop her down to 0.03. Now let's see what else we can do here. Sorry, my numbers are off today. It's the New Year's. We're going to give her 0.3 volts over. I think that's the highest this cooler can handle doing. We're going to leave the memory there. Actually, I'll bump it up to 1866, but we're going to lower this multiplier down to like 22 or something. Let's see, 23 sounds good. Gives us 4.7 solid. Protection's turned off. I'm not messing with the core technology. This is a straight solid overclock. I'm not doing the core. If you were air cooling, I'd say you could play with the core technology because it'll boost it up until you get hot and drops it back down. But in this case, I wanted a pure processor pushing that amount. So let's restart it and see if it goes. You see I did add a little bit to North Bridge, and I just gave the memory a nice stable amount there. A little bit over, but it can handle it. Let's see if it goes. Hey, we are rebooting, that's a good thing. Fx-6300 chip, 970 gaming motherboard, ballistics tracer memory, the lighty up stuff. It's classified for 1600, but you can overclock it. Let's see what our temps and our numbers say. Our temperature down here is actually a lot lower for a boot up. It's going to drop. We're at 4.7 on 23. We left a little bus speed on there. As you can see, our core has dropped down to 1.58. These temps are a bit high, but the voltage is high too, so you expect that. Let's see if it'll run performance estimates. Yay, wait. Let's see what happens. Now I've been working all morning just to try to get the 5 gigahertz to boot. So I got it to boot, I'm happy with that. I know my cooler needs to be upgraded to push it any farther. I'm not really trying to push it 5 gigahertz constantly. That's just more to say, yeah, I got it to do it. This one likes to sit between 4.2 and 4.5 gigahertz, really nice. And then you can play with the memory more and you can play with the video card more because you can't really push the CPU to the max and then hope to get more out of the memory and stuff. it's a balance. You got to lower it down, push something else up. You might want to try the front side bus, less multiplier, more multiplier, less front side bus. Higher memory speed, slower processor, less memory speed, higher processor. Then you have the PCI Express bus to push, and then you have the actual video card to push. So we only focused on just the CPU today and seeing where I can get to with it. And so far it seems to hasn't crashed or given us the way executable error, which is the common error you get when you push it too far with overclocking. It's like a memory correction or some, I don't know the technical reason that error comes up. I just know it does it when you're overclocking or when you have an issue. And we're not going to get super technical today. Boring to watch this, but I wanted you to run through at least one of these, and then I'll bring up some different comparisons I did already this morning. But let's see the whole process of what performance test will do. It's kind of a bench test. And we got some kind of error on rendering. I'm going to check into that and see what's up. Probably just because I'm pushing it too far. The video card can't quite handle it without, say, adjusting its bus or its voltages or something like that. Like I said, I haven't played with that side of the house with overclocking. Woo! Alright, this should be about finishing up most of its tests here. It's got a couple of 3D tests and some performance for the disk. Has a solid state on a traditional hard drive. Nothing to write home about, just your basic affordable budget stuff. And it's a Kingston in there and Western Digital Blue. Running Windows 10, pretty much nothing extra on there. I try not to run anything extras unless I have to. Your ATI drivers and a couple of temperature programs. ClamWin antivirus, I notice, is in there too, just because you got to have that. Scan stuff once in a while. But other than that, nothing really on the startup. It's pretty much a clean install. I reinstalled this a couple days ago. Patience, what a virtue. Thinking and thinking. No CD-ROM drives, because who has them anymore? Got them in a drawer somewhere, and floppy drives too. Almost done. Patience, hurry. There we go, so we got a 3426. Not too bad when we're only pushing the processor and we had to lower the memory and that kind of stuff. So I'm not going to upload it, but I will save it. Don't need all that crap. Alright, let me put this thing back to a safe one and I'll show you the computer and whatnot. Alright, so I rebooted and set it back to default. So now we're just going to go in and set it to some easy settings. I don't like the turbo control. Some people have better luck with it than others. I just don't care for it. I'd rather have the full CPU full time. That's why I have the coolers and all that good stuff. So now I'm just going to adjust the ratio up to, I don't know, like 21. Pretty much where it's going to sit for now. That way I can let it run, not have to worry about it, and if it has any issues, it'll tell me. So right now we're going to just pick the right numbers I want here. We're going to do a 21 multiplier. I'm going to give it a little bump here. Actually, no, we're going to leave that be, just because I want to push the memory up to 1866. I don't like the XMP on this memory because it just doesn't seem to be too happy. And I could leave the voltage alone, but I'm going to push it just a little bit, just so it has room to wiggle. We'll give it a 20 voltage jump. So it's going to be up towards the manufacturer's recommended, I believe. So, and then once I've chosen my settings, usually you want to do this a little increments at a time until you find out what your CPU and board likes, because you can have the exact same thing as me and still get different numbers. It's all down to even the die or the die that the chip was cut out of. Each chip could be beside each other and still be different. There's microscopic differences and that kind of crap. So each processor, each board will overclock differently. You know, your ambient air, your fans, your water cooling, all that takes apart. Even your power supply. Sometimes your power supply just can't push that much juice out of it, and it'll kill down. I'm actually in this case using a smaller power supply than I should, but the R7 280 or whatever I'm using video card wise doesn't need much more than 500 watts. So I'm actually running an EVGA 430. It's been in there 8 months, and I'm not really gonna be too concerned if it dies. I understand I've been pushing the power supply more than I should have, but I think it's a decent power supply, and I think it'll hold up for a couple of years. So now we have our core speed at 4.2, a little bit of multiplier. Our memory is going to be up in the speeds where we like, and our temperatures obviously are down off of the 60s and 70 degrees Celsius and down in your 44 ranges. So then I have room to play with the memory, and I can play with the video card and all that kind of good stuff and do that stuff. What I'm going to do is run one more test on this as it's setting, and then I'll give you the different baselines that we ran this morning to see what different settings did to the test scores. I'm not going to make you sit through this. Alright, all that overclocking mumbo jumbo, here's the scores we got. I just like the runner. She's at 1.49 volts, just 4.2, traditional solid overclock, no turbo core stuff. Let me see what our temps are. They should be in the lows. Yeah, we're sipping temps now, no big deal. So it's nice and happy there. Here's some of the numbers we got. What we have is, I'm going to compare it to Deadpool, which was a Core i5 4690 overclocked. Obviously, it's the processor costs more than the board and processor in this model. But we also have the Fx-6300 4.2 turbo core. That's not really overclocked, that's the stock settings. We have a 4.8 with the non-turbo core at 1.5, and then we have a second run at that, and then we have where the computer's sitting now. So you see our summary results are pretty good, but we're worried about CPU because that's what we were overclocking. So now when you break it down, that Core i5 is not too crazy. We're starting to creep up on it, and then if you look at some other scores, your math's going to be lower in the Core i5, but higher in the other things. You know, that tried and true one everybody wants to know, that single core, or is it a single thread? Yep, your Intel's always going to outscore, but hey, we're not pacing too far behind. You look at your sorting and stuff, and we're right up there with it. Couple of extended instructions, compression, you know, hey, that's not too shabby for a $100 processor, $100 board, and I'm comparing it to a, like I said, a 4690 at 3.5 it says. So I mean, that should be stock numbers I think on that, I believe, but not too shabby considering that's a what, like a $300 processor. And then obviously in that build we have, I'm only running a oh, we lost all some of our 3D graphics because of that error I'm having, which I'm going to look into, but I wasn't worried about that. It could be a DirectX thing, could be video card driver, could be performance test. I was worried about the CPU marks. There you guys have it, a little bit on overclocking and this and that. And if you have any comments, please leave them in the comments section. If you want any other videos, please let me know. Aside from that, hey, oh, I'm sorry guys, I wanted to show you the computer. That's why I took this thing. This one's small. As you see, I'm running a XSPC cooler. I need to add a little bit of fluid, but I was pushing it all this morning, so obviously it's going to be, that's the fault of this thing. The radiator's a bit too small. I only have one fan on it because of some interference issues with the memory, but I knew the limitations. That's a CPU cooler on the video card. They don't quite make them for that one. I had it sitting around, so hey, why not use it? And to fix this thing up, I think I need a bigger reservoir and a bigger radiator, and we could get some higher numbers out of it. I'm happy with the numbers that we're pushing. It's really impressive for the little chip. Like I said, I was running an underpowered power supply, and solid state, and that kind of good stuff. Well, thank you guys.